Welcome back, folks, to the Jimmy O Show. This is episode 2 in our 3-part series chronicling the magical 2022 football season for the Tulane Green Wave. We're joined here again with our co-host, Mr. Nick Anderson, on the end there, and our friends for this episode, Larry Brooks, Jarius Monroe, and Darius Hodges. How we doing, gentlemen?
Great.
Pretty good.
All right, look, we're gonna this episode we're gonna be covering the games from Houston all the way through that UCF loss, but just the last little blemish, but we learned from that one too. Before we get started, please go to our website, ftwcollective.com. Find out ways that you can get involved, join our team, help these guys out, and you can see more about all the work they're doing out in the community. There's a NOLA-built team. They're doing awesome stuff with all sorts of local groups. Some of you guys recently were down there feeding the homeless not too long ago, and of course we've done work with Son of a Saint and some other groups too. So please check them out. Check out those charity partners as well. And with that, let's go ahead and get started.
Whoa, wait.
Yes, sir.
Before we get started, I think we have a sale going on.
Oh yeah, we do. I'm sorry. Thank you, co-host Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir.
So look, at limited time offer right now, we have a special batch of a team like no other posters. You can go find those on social media, but also if you just check the link below this on YouTube or in your audio podcast streaming description, you'll see a link to our merchandise store. In that merchandise store, you can get your hands on a signed Team Like No Other poster, signed by Coach Fritz, Nick Anderson, Dorian Williams, Michael Pratt, Sincere Hainsworth, the 4 captains. It's a very good looking image, I must say so myself. With the vast majority of proceeds, they're going to go to the FTW Collective. We're going to give some of the proceeds to Children's Hospital as well there. And shout out and special thanks to Kevin Hebert of St. Charles Printing for covering the printing costs for us on that, allowing even more of the proceeds to head to our athletes. So now with that, we can get started.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. So, we come off the Southern Miss loss, and we kind of covered that turnaround, that moment there in the last one. But here you go. Preseason conference favorite on the road at Houston, and you're starting quarterbacks out the game, right? And we get the ball first. We got the ball first in that one, yeah. And Justin Ibieta finally getting his chance. Justin looks good all drive long, takes the offense right down the field. His last play of the year, as it would turn out of the year, separates his shoulder towards like whatever he did. I mean, serious injury. Now we lost the backup quarterback, so now we're down to our third string quarterback, Kai Horton. And we got to beat this preseason favorite at their place. You did it, right? Yeah. But let's talk about what went into making that happen, guys. That had been a tough place for us historically, right? Nick, in your career, Larry, your career. Jet, I think you were around for the last time we went up there, and it wasn't particularly close. I mean, I think that was actually. There were 2 that I got in mind. One of them was where we won the turnover battle like 5-1 or something.
COVID, yeah.
+5, and we still lost the game by like 2 or 3 scores.
We did.
That was rough.
It was.
And so y'all made a bunch of explosive plays on defense, but didn't do much stopping them either. But then the time before that, when Gainwell and those guys were around, they had a not Gainwell, that was Memphis. It was the year we went up with McMillan was a quarterback, and we had high hopes, got up there and wasn't too close. So not a great place for us to have been playing, and y'all were going to exercise all those demons right there that night. So let's get into that game, okay? Gentlemen, what was it about sort of, as you looked at Houston, Jet, up front, what they presented, what was going through our mind in terms of the keys that it would take to come out of Houston, knowing that the offense didn't have full strength on the other side of the ball?
I think that the O-line wasn't, as good as it used to be at Houston, and I think that our biggest strength was playing hard and physical, carrying on with the leaders, pass through us all week in practice, and keeping a good intensity. I think that was just the main key of being them staying consistent and keep a good intensity.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And J-Bo, you're working yourself more and more into things by this point. I mean, all season it was a 3-man rotation outside, right? Until Kennedy went down, so you had a lot of play time, but a big pass breakup in that game. Sort of Tank Dell, man, that dude's a player. Carter out there, a player. I mean, they had some legit weapons on the outside. What were the keys from a cornerback perspective trying to slow down that high octane passing game?
Just trust what we practiced all week. Trust what coach had in plan at the time, and that's pretty much what I was trying to do. Just do everything right. Like you said, I was trying to work myself into position to be a starting cornerback. So I just was trying to do everything right, whatever they was asking of me.
Mm-hmm. And Larry, you'd been on the wrong side of some of those things at Houston. What was going through your head in terms of why this time was going to be different when we took the field that night?
Just knowing like all us coming back for our 5th year, we're starting like the real season. That's what I call it, the real season of the conference. Going into the year, we wanted to win conference championship, and that was the first step to it. So we had to take care of business that night.
Mm-hmm. Now, y'all talk to me a little bit about your roommate, though, because he had a special night that night. For those that don't know, Mr. Anderson, the co-host, and Larry were roommates, right?
Yeah.
And so, sort of, one of the biggest plays of the game was the strip. It was tune on a scramble.
Right.
Nick, you picked up some tendencies of his and were able to poke the ball away. Jaden Kennedy picked it up, returned it for the score. We don't win that game without that play. Larry, I guess he was claiming he saw it on film. Did he say it before? This is truth or dare. Now you can say, yeah. Nick told me he was going to get that fumble that game.
No, yeah, he did. He said that.
He always tells the truth.
I try to be a man of my words, Jimmy.
That's right. So Nick, Tune, talk to us about run game, but I mean just the dual threat guy, but with his big weapons. What were you how did you view sort of defensive plan? What was going to be necessary to win that game?
Just overall, Clayton Tune is a very talented quarterback. I feel like he ended the season probably number 2 in passing in this league, which is a passing league. So that's a true testament to how good he really was. And looking on the outside, looking at guys like Carter and Tank Dell, they were very talented receivers who had been well over 100 yards a game. And so definitely just knowing that the back end would be tested. At the time, we were one of the top premier passing defenses in the country. They were one of the top passing offenses in the country. They had been in close shootout games prior, but the guys that were making plays were Clayton Tune and Tank Dell, that connection. So really just the shout out to these guys right here on the back end of limiting Tank Dell. I think he only had 3 catches, 1 for a touchdown, but it was on like a slant, and didn't have really over 40 yards. And Clayton Tune, we just had him a mess all year, and that's a true testament to Darius, Hodges, and guys up front, crushing the pocket, making him have to use his feet a little bit more, and guys just flying to the ball. And that really was a difference maker in that game is, dropping 8, getting eyes on Clayton Tune, making him feel uncomfortable with the 3-man rush, and swarming and tackling when he threw his checkdowns, and that helped us get the victory that night. Yeah,
and there were several moments, including overtime, where the 8-man drop, the 8-man coverage, just he's got a lot of time to throw because not only are we dropping 8, we're also not selling out to get to him because we're keeping that lane integrity. And it's an unsung thing that our defensive front did all year long was working through the blocker in order to keep the pocket, keeping quarterback in the pocket, not giving them an easy escape by getting too far up view or coming too far underneath. You can get more sacks that way, but you can give up explosive plays too. Right. And really, I remember pat ball, and he just has to throw it away, leading to their field goal in overtime. But, I guess, when you look, we had the defensive score, and Kai had an early touchdown in the first half, and then he led the offense on that, but there was a long gap. Ivy had another big game, but there was a long gap where we didn't do a whole bunch on offense, and we were just barely holding on to that lead, and they finally take it late. And then, one of the moments that stand out when you look through the season was, I think it was right before that last drive, Nick, there was a shot on TV of you and Tajay really kneeling and praying before. Was it in overtime or was it before the last?
It was right before overtime, right before we went and did the coin toss.
Yeah, and that just struck me watching the two of you in that moment. But we talk about next man up, 1-0 mentality, and all that, and how that's been a season, and really just the core belief that this team showed throughout. Kai Horton, the numbers weren't very good in that game, and then we get the ball down, needing to score. and he looks like Tom Brady. Leading the team down, capping it off with the shuffle to Tyreek. Nice play call, by the way. I was kind of like an option. Like he had the give option to take or come back with a shuffle pass to the tight end wide open. Tyreek gets the score. We tied up there, and then of course we know what happens in overtime. So, what's going through? You're on the sideline, man. Y'all played your hearts out. You've done all this, and now it's in the hands of this inexperienced quarterback to have to go down and get 7. What's going through our heads at that point?
In my eyes, just watching Kai at practice and watching all our quarterbacks at practice, I feel like all our quarterbacks were capable of being in that position and being able to perform. Throughout the game, you could see Kai was getting better and better, understanding more and more, because he was inexperienced. But at the end of the day, I still had a lot of faith in him. I knew that once he got it, he was gonna get it, and that's what happened actually.
Mm-hmm. Yep, there's no doubt. And I mean, you guys, so we tied up, and y'all on the field first, overtime. Y'all had spent a lot of time on that field that night. And that was going through my head. Man, they've been on the field a lot. They played a lot of plays. They got a little bit left in you defensively to kind of hold these guys, and sure enough, huge job to just hold them to 3 there on that opening drive.
Just asking you a question, Larry. Just once you knew that the defense was going to be on the field first, what went through your mind knowing that we would have the opportunity to really put the game in our favor?
Just get a stop, man. Get a stop, and then offense come out. We can really kick a field goal and win the game. Obviously, they came out and got a field goal. So if we got a field goal, it was kind of like it kind of eased you down a little bit. Like if we don't score a touchdown, we can kick a field goal and then go another set of overtime plays. So it just go out there and do our job first.
I'm glad you asked Larry, because I'm going to tell you, I know both of these guys. This one was thinking, I'm going to get a strip sack, somebody scooping and score, and this one says I'm pick 6. And offense won't even have to come back out.
At the time, I was like, man, I just hope I get in the game. But I came in
but if I do,
when they got in the red zone, I came in the game during overtime, and that's when I got the PBU.
Yeah, you got the PBU in overtime. Mm-hmm.
There's question for you. Just overall, what do you think that win did for us coming off a loss against Southern Miss and beating a team that was favored to win the conference? What do you feel like that momentum did for us?
I think it rejuvenated our whole team with the whole plan we had. That loss kind of shook us a little bit. I feel like we needed that. It was kind of like a wake-up call. Okay, if y'all want to accomplish this goal, get a conference championship with a leader set out, we got to really, put everything together every week. And, it's not about being perfect, but just make sure we stay together and play hard every game. So,
most definitely.
Yeah. I mean, look, it was a testament to you guys, no doubt. And I mean, to start the league, just start league play 1-0. We hadn't done that many times. We've had some decent years in the league and all, even when y'all been around 3 straight bowls. But like getting off on that foot against that opponent was huge, right. And that sort of created the new sort of theme for the rest of the season. So we take that momentum. Right now, we got a chance to go stub our toe. We go over to South Florida next, right? No. The next one was ECU. ECU at home. So that's another one. So let's get into that one.
Fun game.
Holton Ahlers, all-time leading passer in the history of the league. They honestly, last year wasn't pretty.
Right, it wasn't.
They had our way in the boneyard up at ECU. Keaton Mitchell ran all over us, and Nick, you watched it from the sideline.
I did.
Larry, were you
watched it from the sideline?
You watched it from the sideline. There you go.
Watched it together.
Jet got tested. Got his soul tested a little bit in that one. But they bring in it. They bring those 2 receivers are really good. Winstead and Johnson, and then Mitchell and Ahlers is in his 7th year as a starter and all that other stuff. And well, I know, and so, but let's get at that game because we really kind of turned it into a defensive game. They had been playing everything in the 30s, lost narrowly. I think they beat Cincinnati. They lost narrowly somebody else. I mean, they were having a good season.
Yeah, blew South Florida out.
Yeah,
prior to that.
Yeah, and at that time we didn't really know South Florida would have the season they did.
Yeah, right.
We'll get into them, but they had a lot of talent for a team with that record. But I look at that game. I mean, 9 points given up against East Carolina, all in the first half.
Second half domination.
Yeah.
Second half domination. And you guys kind of served notice that You were not to be trifled with, particularly at home as a defense. And it kind of took it because the offense had its moments, but it wasn't something where they were just marching up and down the field yet. Had the big explosive drive with Deuce and Shea, boom, 35, Deuce with the acrobatic catch, right?
Yeah, tap.
That was nice.
That was crazy.
But just sort of defensively, what was a key to sort of containing that offense?
I feel overall, just one of the things that really just set the tone for the rest of the game was this guy right here. Didn't get an interception during the 2-10 season. It was something that he had been yearning for a long time. So Larry, just take us through that situation when you caught the interception.
So they were in a close set, and they ran a double post, and we were in the roll coverage. So we was rolling right. The corner had sat down in the play, and I had rolled over top in the third. And he never saw me. He saw the middle field wide open. I just literally went to go. I saw him lunching up at to just throw it, and I just opened up my hips and took off and went to go get it.
Yeah. Well, but at that point in the game, Larry, it was 14-9. We only up 14-9 midway through the third, and that's he's throwing for a go-ahead touchdown there.
Right.
Yeah.
And Larry comes from, you were opposite hash when you opened the hips, came all the way across, made the leaping interception about 9.5 yards deep in the end zone.
Back in the end zone.
Toe tap.
Got the toe tap, got the foot down, ended that drive, and then what happened next? Three play, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And that was that sequence right there, that offense feeding defense and defense feeding offense right there was the game, really.
And Larry, what did that mean to you just overall last year, not playing against those guys and, just having a year? What did that interception really do for you individually?
Just wanted to go out there and beat them dudes, man. Just sitting from the sideline last year and how they just feel like they just kind of dominated us, and it was on our mind the whole week that we wanted to go out here and get them back. You know what I'm saying? Just wanted to go out there and dominate and beat these guys, and for us, for Tulane, for the team. Just all the guys on the team that played last year or didn't play last year, just had to watch it. It was just, or in the fans, everybody just had to watch it. It was hard. It was tough to watch it. So
I know, I was so happy for you, Larry. I remember driving back after that game. I stuck around a little longer for whatever. I don't even remember what the reason was, but I'm driving back with my kids, and I see Larry talking to his parents outside the stadium, and I rolled down my window. I said, "Larry, you gonna be on the show this week?
Yeah,
you were gonna be one of the players of the week, and sure enough." You were one of the players of the week. That was such a huge play. But your boy, Savage Mac, Macon, he wasn't. He tried to steal a show from you a little bit. He actually got the player of the week conference honors.
Yeah.
He got the interception late into their second to last drive. Nick, you stopped their last drive with a 4th down stop, and it just completed the defensive domination. But man, that was fun to watch you guys work as a defense against those guys, and that probably. It's so much hyperbole, and you have a season like this, it's lots of highs, right? But to me, knowing how I felt when I was in Waco, watching y'all on delay last year, and how that game went, to see how drastically y'all had flipped the switch against a team that had most of those players back. To me, I was like, okay, K-State's not a fluke, Houston's not a fluke. This team is for real, right? And it was really that kind of game right there, 24-9. It wasn't a high-scoring thing. It was defense had to lead us, but the offense did enough. To me, that was it. I knew we had something special.
So, just a question for Jarius and Darius. This is the second time in that part of the season that we had shut down 2 guys that were first-team all-conference the year prior. So, just take me into, just overall how that felt to hold Keaton Mitchell to a basic game. After also coming off a game where Tank Dell didn't have the game that he was supposed to have. What did that really show you about the defense and what was to come for the rest of the season?
I think it showed how talented our defense is from the front end, from me and Pat, Eric Hicks, you got Keith, you got Angelo, then the middle linebackers and the safety. It showed how good we was in all 3 levels of our defense, and showed that we can really dominate no matter who we played. Because I really felt like I seen at the K-State how we did Deuce Vaughn. Okay, we can do this week in and week out, and with our leaders and how they led us. And I think they need a lot of credit for how they operated was, that it stirred us the right way with that week. So
Yeah, I agree with Darius on that. I felt like y'all did lead us the right way that week. Everybody was locked in, it was a mental thing, and I still was trying to, fighting for that spot. So I was just ready to do whatever, I had a couple of people use that game. It was a fun game, though. Like, everybody was laughing, smiling. It just felt a whole lot of fun on the sideline.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you were starting to get into it now because that's now 5-1, right? That's 5-1, 2-0 in league. And the goals to conference championship, you don't win a championship, you'll start 2-0. You're kind of on the way there. But it was also good that little door in to get ECU back.
Yeah.
He
Didn't
give him that offer he wanted way back when. He showed him. All right, so look, I thought this next one was, and we talked about it at South Florida, right? That's the first game we had on grass, wasn't it?
that was the first one.
First grass game.
First grass game, that high grass that they got at Raymond James Stadium. You see it every Sunday, it's always getting torn up. But I thought that play made a small difference because Bohannon was really explosive when he started the game, and some uncharacteristic missed tackles. That was sort of the first time that this defense had really been tested, I thought, in terms of, okay, not everything's going your way, but can you make the plays when you need to make them? And the answer was yes. But, I mean, it wasn't easy. I think that was a tie game all the way deep into the third. It was 17-17 when we flipped it. But sort of, I guess you can't ever 1-0, and you can't ever judge a book by its cover because that team only won one game or two games all year long.
Yeah, and they put up
they came punching.
I think they put up 30-plus points against us.
45-31 was the final.
They were very talented.
30
scratching.
But to your point, Jet, you said they're very talented, but like when you look at the list of the so-called Group of Five transfers out into Power 5 programs after this season, they were second.
Yeah, they had a pretty good running back and a wide receiver, I think. So I've seen.
Yeah, Batty and Jimmy Horn and some of these guys, but I mean they had a bunch of dudes, and they made plays, man, and they gave us a little fit, but what sort of the offense and defense working together, special teams, the whole thing, but in this case, offense and defense, where the moment in the game, it's 17-17, they just tied it up, I think, with a field goal. Tajay takes the very first play of the next 75 yards
to the house.
House call.
Counter GT, I think so. It was that run play. They ran counter GT.
Well, he ate on that counter GT all year long.
Exactly what it was.
that duo. But look, so do that. Then what happens? Kick it off. Second play of the ensuing series. Fumble. You guys force a fumble.
Matt, yep.
Who got that fumble? Who
I
forced
think
it?
Savage Matt, yeah. I think Matt forced it.
Yeah, Matt picked it up. Matt picked it up.
Tyler Phillips.
Tyler forced it. Big Tyler.
forced it.
Talk about another unsung hero, right? Guy made huge plays all season long. One of the deepest defensive line rooms in the so-called Group of Five. Easy. Yeah, that's it. You gotta have them. You gotta have every dude. But Matt, takes it back to the 6th. Next play, Tajay touchdown. So it went from 17-17 to 31-17 with a combination in about 30 seconds of game action.
Just overall, guys, just take us through what was going through your head. Coming in 5-1, playing a team that at the time maybe had won one game. We knew they were talented, but overall they're still in this game. They're still fighting. We're giving up big plays on defense. What really flipped the switch defensively to say, okay, let's really play our style of defense that we have been playing the whole season?
Initially going into the game, everybody was excited, playing the NFL stadium. I know I was, it's my first time in the NFL stadium. So that excitement was there. But after all that, seeing us come out a little flat and then we picked up the tackle, and I want to give heads up to him. He actually came through and was like, I'm just about to come through just tackling everything. I think it was like 3-4 plays. He just was wrapping up. It was like great form tackles. And I'm like, yeah, I want to tackle too. I think everybody took on the same message, like just watching him go up and then like, so that's what I took from it.
I had got upset. I had missed a couple tackles early in the game. Kind of got upset, frustrated at myself, and that's when I kind of started like, all right, I'm gonna be thick on them, head on to tackling guys, and No, yeah, like the goal, 1-0, man. Just want to win the game, go back, sing the song, and head on back to the house.
Now, Larry, I know you didn't intend to do it, but it was your hit that ended up injuring Bohannon. Was it you?
No,
on
it
that
was
time?
Macon.
It was Macon. Okay.
Savage Mac.
I get my safeties confused sometimes. But Larry, I always notice that about you, man. You know, you it is a credit to you and everything you've been through. But when things, you got a short memory. When not every play has always gone in your favor, but like you take that as an internal challenge. Like you basically hold yourself accountable, say I got to do better, and you don't make a big show of it.
Yeah.
But you go out and make the plays. You make the adjustment,
Yes, sir.
man. And so none of this could be done without you, man. And so thank you for everything you did.
Appreciate
for
it.
us.
Thank you.
So guys, that was to me, and the last thing I'll say, that showed me proof positive that we learned our lesson from USM, because that was that opportunity, big win, big 2 wins really, Houston and ECU, and then team with a bad record, not supposed to be able to beat you, you're a favorite on the road, blah blah blah, good chance to lose. They hit you in the mouth a few times, but this time we responded, right?
And then just Darius, just asking you, man. Just looking at the year prior, we went 2-10. December of 2021, we're sitting at the house. So to win that game and also become bowl eligible, what did that mean to you?
It meant a lot. I think it meant a lot for us as a whole team. It was a struggle. Every week we feel like we trying to put things together, win the game, and we just couldn't get it together. We was trying to figure out what's the recipe, what we need to do. And I remember that we had a team captain meeting with Nick, Sincere, Dorian. They all stood up and said what we was going to do. We want to win the conference championship. We want to, show how special we are as a team. We did that, and just keeping that in our mind and showing, okay, we're bowl eligible, but we want something bigger than just to be bowl eligible. We want to do it big, and I think that we did it. We did it the biggest way possible.
Yes, you did.
I want to put it out that Nick said he's going to be Clint Clark, Superman, that year. That's what he said to me.
Clark Kent.
That's what he said.
Clark Kent, that's what I said.
That's what his name, Clark
They did
Kent.
it. They
That's right.
said everything I was going to do.
Everything he says turns out to be true. That came up in the last episode, and you just confirmed it. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So
Yeah, like I said, Jimmy, man, I try to be as honest as I can, man.
you are. I give it to you, man. So look, this to me, and this is just like this is where somebody. I mean, I've been through a lot, man. I've been through some dome games where I could sit on one sideline and I can talk in a normal voice, and somebody on the other sideline can hear me. We had 400, 500 fans there and stuff. You went to a few of those. Yeah, your brother was playing for some of them. And, we always knew we were going to have a big crowd for homecoming because just the way Tulane's set up.
Right.
Alumni all over the country. It's parents' weekend. Parents come in. So even when we're not having a great season, like Tulsa last year, we weren't having a great season, but they had a pretty good crowd.
Yeah.
And we always have a big crowd. But I was like, this team's 6-1, 3-0 in the league. We rank now. It's like this crowd's going to be crazy. And
It was.
it was insane.
Epic.
It was insane. I mean, that building was packed to the gills, and guys, you put on a show.
Nice. Larry, just a person that had been at Tulane since 2018. Was that something that you ever thought that you would see coming into Yeoman Stadium, sold out crowd, 30,000 plus fans, everybody screaming, yelling, and also us being ranked? Just take me through your emotional status going into that stadium this Saturday.
Very exciting. It was amazing. Just run through the tunnel. We've been prepping for it all week with the crowd noise and stuff, getting us ready. And it was just amazing just to go out there and see all the fans and supporting us. And it was a long time coming. Coming from when I started in 2018, and it was finally here, and we kept on taking advantage of it, and we kept winning, and it was good.
Yeah, Larry's. I always like the best of Larry because of the 5th year about how old he is. It was like, I was thinking Sam Cooke back here. I was like, Larry might have been alive for Sam Cooke. No, just kidding. Change's gonna come, man, and then it came.
Yeah,
right?
it did. It came, yeah.
Defensively, though, guys, when we offense gets the ball first, wild environment, 11 plays, 80 yards, boom, 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 touchdown, go up 7-0. how big was it knowing that if you come out and set the tone with a big stop, 3 and out, turnover, that type of thing, that this place is going to erupt, right? And that's exactly what you did, right? 3 and out on that first drive.
Right.
But was that like an emphasis type of thing, or I guess maybe you always looking for 3 and out, but did y'all kind of sense that you could seize the momentum right off the bat, right there with a big stop?
Yes, sir. We just came out and we played lights out defense. I think Dorian had a big hit early in the game to really set the tone and made those guys punt, and then Corn takes it to the house.
Yeah.
And so that really was when everybody in the stadium really lit up, and you got to see how electrifying the crowd really was. And Memphis felt it. They felt it. And then also coming back the next series and giving them the ball and them driving down, trying to get a little bit of momentum, making comes down, forces another fumble. Mm-hmm. So now we got the ball again. Mm-hmm. And then it's 3 and out. Unfortunately, on our offense, we punt the ball and we go down there and he muffs the kick and we get the ball right back to score again. Mm-hmm. And so to just show what we could do with that, the crowd definitely played a role in that. Mm-hmm. Just making those guys nervous and making those guys have different screw-ups, which is definitely shows the importance of why it is, not only good to win, but when you're winning, to have people in the stands, because it definitely makes a difference and sets up a different atmosphere, and we thrive off that.
Yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, we all been on that opposite sideline on the road where you maybe beating a high-ranked opponent or whatever, favorite, and you quiet the building, how good it feels. But then when they give their fans something to get into. I remember LSU, man. We were winning, and Mark Roman, I think it was, had a pick 6 against us, and you couldn't even hear yourself. It was, the ground was shaking, right? Yeah. And it gets to you a little bit. But Quan, let's talk about that and the special teams there, because we talk a lot about offense and defense, but it's a 3-phase game, and you gave the shout out to Coach Dish earlier, but special team, you just went through it. 90-yard punt return. Quan finally got him one because he had 2, I think, called back earlier in the year.
Yeah, he did.
So this one, no flags on the field, he got that one, and then the muff, right, in recovery. And that's what it takes, though. All those hidden yards. I think if you looked at the stats of the game over the course of the game, they probably had more yards.
We had more hidden
but
yards.
we had so many hidden yards from the special teams performance.
Coach
Right?
Dish is really passionate about special teams, and that's what I like about him the most, because I feel like that's an important part of the game, along with the other 2 phases. But he's really passionate about it, and I just love the way he approaches it.
I just like what y'all bring to it. All you guys play special teams, right?
Yeah.
Right.
We put it. It shows where we put our priorities.
And just come out of halftime, guys. That's one of the things that I want y'all input on. Coming out of halftime, we're up. I think at the time we were up 40-0 going into halftime.
35-0.
35-0 going into halftime, and we come out not playing so well. Just take us through, just overall why you think we did that coming out of halftime.
I think we took our foot out the pedal a little bit. I think, being up so high, we kind of got cold feet a little bit. They came out, they made their adjustments, and they did different things. But I feel like once we got to understand what they was running and different players they tried to pick out against our defense, we started, picking it back up. But I feel like we started off slow. We got a little complacent a little bit.
Yeah, and then for a moment they made it a game. And then Jarius, you've been talking about how you've just been preparing, waiting on your opportunity. Unfortunately, Jaden Kennedy gets, hurt on a key drive, of them trying to tie the ball game up, and here comes number 11, Jarius Monroe, in the game. Just take us through that moment, couple of plays that you remember leading up to your game-winning interception.
I know I was in the game for that drive. We would alternate every drive, so this was my drive, and I was like, if I get a chance. So we're going down, we're in Rabbit. I think we stayed in Rabbit for like 2 plays, and then we went back to Peso. I had no idea Jaden got hurt. So I'm in the game, I'm locked in. I'm looking at the quarterback, and I think he glanced at me one time. I said, if he throw it over here, I'm not even going to look at the receiver. That's what I said. If he throws it, I'm not even going to. So he threw it. I said, oh, he threw it. I just want to get it. And once I caught it, I didn't know I caught it. I was like, who caught it?
So, Peso, what's the coverage there? What's your 3?
I think we were in cover 3, yeah.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be a little bit more over top, maybe, but I just was like, I ain't gonna look at the receiver.
No, he didn't have a chance. I mean, you blocked him out. He made an athletic play, but it would have had to have been a perfect throw to get it over your great position as it turned out.
Yeah, true. I mean, I had the same opportunity versus USC and I dropped it, so that's why we're not talking about that.
That's all right. We won the game. But look, man, I mean, that was, and people say offense got conservative. Really kind of didn't. It did, but we were having more success running than passing at that point and all that. And it was one of those things. They strung together some success, but offense put up the 3, made it a 10-point, 17-point game, and they made it 10. But then the big pick to seal it off, and the party started, right?
Yes, sir.
Big homecoming. Talk to us about that, Jet, man. I gotta imagine the party was pretty live. Daytime game, everybody in town, man. We had a good atmosphere for the post game celebration.
Post game celebration. I think you can add J-Bo about that. I'm not really too much of a party guy.
I don't really celebrate too much. Just enjoy my family being there. So
yeah,
that's pretty much what I was doing.
That's good. That sets y'all apart. That's good about y'all. Want to know, man? Y'all take that stuff seriously.
Yeah, we did. At that point in the season, we were midway through the season. After that win, we were 7-1. Going into a bye week, we knew that coming out of the bye week, it would be a tough schedule going forward. And so at that point, I really don't think we were doing much partying, Jimmy. I think it was more of, okay, it's time to recover. Because during that part of the season, we didn't have a lot of injuries, God bless, but a lot of guys was banged up. I know I was hurting, and so Memphis was a physical game. I had got a concussion in like the fourth quarter of that game, so I missed the whole week of the bye week. I didn't practice at all, just trying to come back off a concussion. So overall, we was just trying to get healthy, and that was the biggest thing. And also, it showed the maturity of the team. We would show our faces after the game, but for the most part, guys were locked in on the next week. And that really is what carried us through coming off that bye week and keeping that momentum.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, look, I like to give the fan perspective of this, and big concern, right? Because, one position we didn't have a lot of depth. We had 3 guys that were playing outside corner all year long. I mean, Keelan's one of the best special teams players ever, but hadn't played a lot of snaps at corner. Shaheem, another big special teams guy, but hadn't played a lot of snaps at corner. We really didn't know outside looking in what we had, and now all of a sudden 3 became 2, and it was going to be on J-Bo and it was going to be on Lance to sort of step up and fill the shoes of Jaden, who, was freshman All-America by some publications last year. I mean, kind of outside looking in, was the best cover guy on the team. Didn't know how it was going. Here we go to Tulsa, right? Team known for passing the ball, 3 excellent receivers, Stokes and those guys. And so I got 2 weeks to be like fretting over this, right? Like, how's J-Bo gonna do with 70 snaps? I don't know. And you showed us, right?
Yeah.
So we go up to Tulsa, guys. Taking care of business right there. I was on that business trip right there. Didn't start the way we wanted. The flight was delayed.
Yeah.
Early
wake up.
That was. Early game, and then we got there like 4 or 5 hours later.
Right.
Y'all ended up having your team meetings back in New Orleans before the late flight, right?
And it was kind of chilly that next morning.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was definitely things in place that could have served as a distraction, but I feel like the guys did a great job of handling everything, handling all the different adversity with the weather, the flight delays, and just waking up and going out and handling business. And these 3 guys had a great game against Tulsa. You had Darius come on the scene, get to the quarterback, get a sack. You had Jarius with the big hits and, doing a great job of covering the back end. And I want to say you had, 8-10 tackles that game. So just take us through y'all individual performances that game. And, coming off a bye week, everybody is looked to be supposed to be slow and have a slower step and got to get back into the groove of things, but you guys never missed a beat. So just take us through that.
I felt like, coming off a bye week, I felt like I had to turn it up. I was kind of, moving slow. A little bit in defense, wasn't making any plays, and I was like, okay, it's time to turn it up, So I began to practice harder, focus on the main thing, and listen to my leaders, and I had a pretty decent game. So, and we all had a good game. We played pretty decent against them, so.
For me personally, so this is my opportunity, my first game starting. I was kind of nervous, but most nerves turn into aggression. So I just was, I know it's always been, you tackle better, you're going to be all-star. You tackle better, you're going to be all-star. So at this point, I'm like, man, I've been tackling that practice. Like, we going against the offense, I'm picking up the running backs, and I'm just, just getting ready to, mentally. So we get out there, and I go get 9 tackles, and I'm like, man, could have had 10. But it was exciting, bro. I just excited just to show people, like, I could do this. Like, just trust me, at least.
You showed me.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. Mm-hmm.
It was definitely a fun game. I had an athletic quarterback, so he's playing with 11 a lot. With him running and stuff, they had a really good running back. So it was just a fun game, running around, making plays, tackling, celebrating with my teammates. Definitely just one of the fun games.
Yeah, it was one of those games where Tajay was really kind of the tone setter for the offense. I mean, he was pacing us, and Michael didn't have to do a whole bunch. It was a game we controlled, but it was because you guys eliminated the big plays for the most part. I was waiting for this 6 to come on, and that was where his, I don't know if it's a racehorse or a sprinter or whatever, but like that last kick, man, your last quarter of the season was incredible, Darius. But you kind of set this tone for what was to come in that game, no doubt. Down the stretch of the season, and that was our guy who led the league in tackles for losses the previous year. It's like, okay, he's back, he's feeling good, and he's making plays.
Yeah, man, I finally got to see that demonstration.
Jet came up.
It felt good, man. It felt good. I was in the slump about. I was like, I was asking myself why wasn't I so productive and things like that. And I was just like, I just need to keep pushing forward, and things started opening up for me at the end of the year, And my leaders kept my heads on straight, and it felt great flying around like that.
He was the only Jet on time that weekend, man.
Just want to give another shout out to Coach Disher. Playing linebacker, you never really, get the ball in your hands. And in high school I played a little running back, so one of those things you dream about in college is just getting to carry the ball or touch it. And so that game, Coach Disher allowed me to get a carry on a big 4th down. And I got the first down, but that was big time for me, but because that's one of the things you dream about as a college football player, being able to have the ball in your hands, and so to have it direct snap to me was like definitely a moment that I was like, all right, I gotta get these yards.
Can't let him down. Got to reward him for this confidence. So yeah, man. So look, so what, we up to 4-0 now? 4-0 in the league, 5-0, maybe 4-0, right? 4-0 at that point, 8-1, highly ranked, all that, and here comes UCF, right? And this is the last game we're gonna cover on this episode, and I don't know why I picked the two losses at the end of the episode, but
I feel like it builds momentum going to the next episode in the series, Jimmy.
That's right. Well, that's right. That's why you picked them, right? You did that right, Nick. I don't know. That part of it was there was a lot of talk. Game day might be coming and all that other kind of stuff for that week, and it was another big crowd, nationally televised game. UCF and Tulane playing for the right to sort of to control the destiny. Right. Going postseason for the AAC Conference Championship game, and man, I gotta say. Y'all had a lot of this season where the uncertainty from a game planning perspective, it wasn't clear who was going to be their quarterback. Keene, Plumlee's the explosive leg guy, great runner. Keene was more of the traditional pocket pass. It wasn't clear if Plumlee was going to be healthy enough to play. He came out, he was healthy.
Yeah, he was.
He was healthy.
Just going to that game, like it was one of those things where all year we had been in situations we had to, prepare for 2 quarterbacks, but we had never seen a quarterback with the athleticism that Jarius Plumlee had. So it kind of caught us off guard because, I played against him in high school. I always knew he was fast, but, you get to college, you put on a little weight. I'm like, okay, well, maybe he's lost a stride in this step, and he didn't.
He was still fast.
And he just came out running the ball, and it kind of shook us up and caught us off guard a little bit. But over the course of the game, the offense did a great job of keeping us in it, but we just never got true momentum in that game. You know, we just was offbeat. But I feel like it definitely played a role in what was to come, because it was another thing like Southern Miss where a loss that happened exactly when we needed it to happen, and really set that momentum to say, okay, you know, we're good, but like, you know, we're gonna see these guys again. It's time to, you know, go back to the drawing boards and become better. And so I feel like that was the biggest thing out of that game, is just humbling yourselves and say, okay, we're not, you know, unbeatable. This league is definitely as real as we thought it was. What can we do to really get over this hump and continue to obtain the goal that was very much still at reach at the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you pointed out we wasn't quite in sync. You know, we had some uncharacteristic drops on offense. We were playing from behind all game.
Right.
You know, John Rice really kind of got them going with the big runs early, and they got weapons everywhere. You know, but we struggled more in the first half. I thought you guys adjusted and did a better job in the second half defensively, but we were just always playing from behind. But we had drops from guys who were solid all season. I mean, Deuce dropped the ball. You know, Shea dropped one or two. You know, I mean, like that wasn't typical, right? And in big spots. And they had some luck, too. You know, that play where Bowser threw they weren't even supposed to, it was like a busted play or something, fourth down. They should have been punting it anyway. They go for it. I don't think they were supposed to snap. I think they were just trying to draw offside, but they ended up snapping the ball. They don't even have a play call. Plumlee just runs down, and Bowser throws it up, and they catch. I mean, or they called the interference. Oh, that's what it was.
It was supposed to be a block downfield.
My point is, that's like if you in baseball and you're on second base and you're not forced, and the ball's hit to the third baseman, and you run into the tag out. It don't matter if you get under the slide. You're out on principle, right? Like, you don't call pass interference in that situation out of principle. I mean, that play should have never been called. But nonetheless, they extend the drive right there, and they kind of put us in a desperate situation. But I feel like if we'd have turned them over right there, we had a chance. We could have won that game.
Right.
But, you know, it wasn't to be, Nick. And to your point, you know, it was a reset, right? And I'll never forget, you know, really kind of down. Because you come out of the game and you're like, okay, look, we control our destiny from a standpoint of making it to the conference championship game. Because we win out, we're in. Now, we're probably going to UCF. And then I'm looking on Twitter and Nick saying, man, y'all don't sleep on Navy. And nobody was saying that, right? Nobody was saying it. Nick's like, y'all don't sleep on Navy. And sure enough, that week, it was the next week we play SMU early. But Navy got the big upset, right?
Hashtag go Navy, you know.
And so the Nitties took care of business for once. They broke our heart a lot of times
over
the years.
Shout out to the midshipmen, man. And just after playing those guys for the times that I've been at Tulane, they run their program the right way. It's sad to see that their head coach was let go, because he's definitely a guy that really brings out the most in his players. And they come out ready to play no matter who they're playing. Football season is the highlight of their year. That's something that they look forward to each and every season. And so I knew just, you know, UCF was in, you know, the situation that we were in after Kansas State. They had just, you know, beat a top 25 team at their house. Their fans did a great job of showing up to their game. The next game is their senior night, and they're looking at, okay, Navy, you know, it's Navy. They run triple option, and Navy went out and played great football and got the win. But overall, our mentality was, okay, well, especially me personally, I just was like, man, I know Navy's going to do what they got to do, but we got to definitely handle our business to stay where we need to be. But shout out to those guys for helping make me a future teller.
Yeah, man, that was fantastic. But look, you know, we come out of the game, we're still ranked, you know, and like I said, we still got everything in front of us. And so to find out how that all took place, we're going to have to tune in to the next episode. So, folks, thank you for joining us for this one. J-Bo, like I told you, man, it's kind of like Empire Strikes Back. You know, if you're not old enough for Star Wars, but it was the saddest ending of the original trilogy. When people look back on it, they said it was the best movie. So we're going to say, even though this is a sad ending to your episode, this is going to be the best episode of the three, all right? We're going to go with that. All right, man. Thank y'all for joining us, guys. Love having y'all on, and y'all be sure to check out the website. Be sure to check out the descriptions and the links in the descriptions to find out more about the Team Like No Other poster. Until next time, roll wave.
Roll wave.